said mom walking around in his room. I was like, this is just like not.
Morning.
Good morning.
Are we supposed to be in a meeting?
Yeah, we're gonna start here in a couple minutes, guys.
You all wanna love, ooh, 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 honey. I wasn't muted.
All right, we're getting the camera set up here, guys. We'll be getting started here. Hey, that looks good, Drew. It's perfect, perfect, perfecto.
Cool. Anything else?
All right, guys, give it another minute or two and text your friends and your brothers and sisters and your cousins, your aunt, and your uncles, and tell them we're going to get started in about 2 minutes. All right, guys. So is there anything that we want to go over today before I dive into anything? Any questions anybody has? What do you guys think about V.I.B.S and contingent beneficiaries? Are you guys pretty strong on that? What's the, are we doing that as a part of our system right now? How are we doing with V.I.B.S and contingents? What do you guys, where would you rate yourself on that? The knowledge, skill set, usage of it in the home? I was going to touch on that, but I want to see.
Great topic.
It says a great topic.
Oh, 100%. Send me right into my field day with that.
Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. So I talked about it the other day, how you can make a sell and essentially just continue to make sales off of that sell. So let me make sure, what we're going to do is make sure this one camera over here is actually working today. All right, perfect. All right, so we'll go into V.I.B.S and contingent beneficiaries. Either way, this is going to be at the end of the presentation typically. So the idea is whenever I get a cell, I want to be able to duplicate that cell and turn it into another cell. And then when I get that cell, I want to turn that into another cell. And not just one cell, but 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 cells. The idea is having a referral tree. You got to look at whenever you sit down with your client, yes, they're important to serve them, but one of the best ways to serve them is to serve someone else that they know. Because if I bought a cell phone and I'm telling my friends to all get this cell phone and then nobody buys that cell phone and I'm the only one in my group that got this cell phone and they are all using that cell phone, I'm going to probably maybe switch to what the cell phone they got. But if I have this cell phone and I convince everybody else to get the iPhone and drop the BlackBerry, and now everybody has the iPhone, I'm going to feel more comfortable having my iPhone. It's funny when people get something that they like, a lot of times they run and tell somebody else and they want them to buy it. They want them to do the same thing. And then they want that person to give them feedback and say, yeah, I like it too. And that's going to reassure and reconfirm that the decision they made originally was the right decision. So talking about this, life insurance, they meet with Todd. Someone meets with Todd and they enroll into the benefits with Todd. Now what they want to do is they want their friends and family to also meet with Todd, enroll into the benefits, and then they want their friends and family to call them and say, hey, that was a great call by you. Great decision. Todd was awesome. Benefit program was perfect for me and my family. And I actually referred him to 4 other people that I know. That's just going to make the original person feel so much more assured that they made that right decision. And we all know it's the right decision. And one of the worst things will be is if our client somehow, someday just got it into their head that it wasn't the right decision. And now they don't want to keep that coverage anymore. And now it's years later, or who knows what the situation is, and they turn that good decision. Now they make a bad decision. So if you guys are on the thing, we'll just make sure we're muted up there. But you will make it a bad decision by canceling the coverage that they have. So if we can collect the referrals, number one, and then we're able to set the referrals, see the referrals, and help those referrals enroll into the benefits, all that's really doing is helping your original client from the get-go. So the referral tree is not just for you, it's for the original client. We'll call that the seed. The seed is the first client that you plant and it sprouts. And then what happens is it's like if that referral gives you 5 referrals, okay, so that one referral gave you 5 referrals over here. Now these 5 referrals right here give you 5 referrals. So now you got 5 referrals coming off of all these 5 referrals. If you were like, if we're drawing this on a sheet of paper right now, draw it out. Take a look at this real quick. Imagine you had one person and that one person gave you 5 referrals. I know this is kind of crazy. I'm holding my hand up like this, but that's the idea, right? I could turn this all around and we have a whiteboard over there, but we'll keep it like this. So there's 5, but now those 5 give us 5. So you could imagine what that thing would look like. And here's the thing, what a lot of people don't do is they'll go like this. Yeah, I get it. I get the point. I get the point. And you know what they do? They stop. They stop drawing. They stop thinking. They stop imagining. They stop visualizing what we're really trying to do. Are you really trying to have a little small tree? Because if you take that 2 or 3 steps further, yeah, that's going to be a lot of lines you're going to draw. That's going to be a lot more people you're going to have to think about, a lot more visualizing you're going to have to do. And when you go another generation, 2 more generations of everybody doing 5 off of 5, you're going to have the biggest tree in the forest, if you think about it. So that's the idea of a referral tree. But a lot of people, they don't start their day out like that. They're not even thinking like that to begin with. So I think, first of all, it's just having that goal. Like someone said, how did you go and have 20 referral sales in a row over the last 5 days? And the answer is going to be, it wasn't on accident. It was very intentional. I've been trying to do this. I've been working up to this. I've been mapping this out. I've been game planning this. I've been training for this. I've been preparing for this. I've been working towards this for a while now. I've been seeking advice from people who've done it and putting it all together so that I can string together. It's very, very intentional. Somebody said, I want to do 20 referral sales this week over the next 5 days. They said that. That's how it happened. It didn't happen on accident. I said, I don't know. I just worked really hard, picked my head up, and my manager, my boss, my leader pulled up the report and he said, hey, how about this, man? What a random thing. You ended up getting 20 referral sales too while you're at it. That typically doesn't happen very often, right? So it has to be very intentional. That's the first thing is we got to be able to clear our minds of anything that we've ever done in the past and renew on what we're going to be focusing on in the future, which should be maximizing our time working smarter as we progress in the career. One of the biggest things for me, the biggest epiphany that I would say I had was that the magic of the referrals and how a referral is literally twice as better as a lead. So I started running the numbers on that and I started figuring out, like, if I can fill my schedule with half referrals and half leads, so for every time I set a lead, I just had to make sure I set a referral. And I started doing the math on all that. And it wasn't just like, it was exponential what the growth looked like when you start planning out those numbers. It wasn't like addition or multiplication. It was exponential growth when these numbers start trickling in. So, and what I'm talking about is the trade-off of time and results, So I have to let people in.
You let people in?
I figured that's what's going on. How do you do that?
I'll back in. I'm gonna turn. Want me to turn off the?
No, what's his name? Turned it off already. Drew.
All right, bye.
Drew said he turned off the waiting room, I think.
Okay. Sorry.
I figured that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it now. All right. Looking at, we'll start with contingent beneficiaries because you could play this right off of your presentation. So contingent beneficiaries. The idea here is whenever we meet with a client, we're going to fill out an application. And when we fill out that application, we have to put down a first beneficiary, a primary beneficiary, and a secondary beneficiary, right? And why do we put that down? Because the application will not let us submit it unless that stuff's filled out, right? But what it doesn't ask us for on the application is a third and fourth beneficiary. Therefore, most people never even think to ask for a third and fourth, let alone do they actually follow through and do it. So why would they need a third and fourth beneficiary? Well, God God forbid, and let's just think about this, okay? Joe and Mary take out life insurance for their family. They have 2 children at home. And Joe lists Mary as the beneficiary, right? Mary lists Joe as the beneficiary. Then they list their brother as the beneficiary, or their mom as the secondary beneficiary. A lot of times you'll see this happen. They'll list their wife and then they'll list their parents or their brother. And then what will happen is God forbid, the parents would pass away. And then what happens if the spouse passes away before the other spouse? Now there's no other beneficiaries left for the money to go to. So we did all this work. People spent all this time. I mean, there's a lot. We had a PR team that had to go do this, set this up. They've had to fill that card out. It's some way, shape, or form. They had filled out some sort of response to us. Then we had to call them. Then we had to meet with them. Then they had to enroll into the program. And then they had to go to work and spend hours making money in order to pay for this coverage for the next 20 years of their life, 30 years of their life. So all this work, all the people at home office had to make sure everything was processed correctly. So hours and hours of work has gone on left and right. We spend hours training for this one moment to help this person get this coverage. And then all of a sudden they pass away and nothing gets paid out to their family. Guys, this is not something we just say. This is a fact that billions of dollars of life insurance get left unpaid out because of people not knowing what they have and the beneficiaries not being lined up properly. So you know, we say it in the home to the clients. We'll say last year alone there were hundreds of millions of dollars that were lost in life insurance. What I mean by that is people passed away and their families never received the money. So they called that unclaimed funds. I think you look at the report. There was a report a few years ago on 60 Minutes or one of those shows where they talked about all the unclaimed funds that have accumulated over the years. And the main reason why people don't claim out, which means people passed away and they had life insurance, but nobody claimed on the money. And one of the biggest reasons is nobody really knew what they had and nobody knew they had it. So what we got to do is we got to make sure that the clients not only have a first and a secondary beneficiary, but they should also have a third and a fourth beneficiary as well. So that's the story behind it. And what you're going to tell the client is you're going to go like this. You just simply tell them. It's pretty straightforward stuff. All you do is you just say, so Joe and Mary, Joe, it looks like you listed yourself. Joe, it looks like you listed for yourself your wife, Mary, as the beneficiary. So God forbid something were to happen to you, Joe, Mary, you would be the one to claim on all the money. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, now, God forbid something were to happen to you, Mary, and you were no longer around. Joe, you have listed secondary as your brother, Mark, okay? So God forbid something were to happen to Mary, Mark would be the one to have to claim on that money whenever you would pass away, okay? So what they need us to do is they need us to make sure that we have a third and a fourth beneficiary listed as well. And what basically, Joe and Mary, last year alone, there were over hundreds of millions of dollars that were gone in unclaimed life insurance policies. And you know why people would pass away and which means people passed away and they had life insurance and their families never claimed on that money. And why do you think somebody would pass away and nobody would claim on the money? That's right, because the client, client will always answer that, because they didn't know about it. I say exactly, because nobody really knew about it. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that you have a third and a fourth beneficiary listed. That way, make sure that no matter what, your money and your life insurance will be secured, be paid out to your family. So, Joe, who would you list as your third beneficiary? Who would you trust to be that person? And then I already know the person. I already met this person, so I might even throw some suggestions out there. Well, you said your sister lives close by, or you said your mom and dad are still pretty young and healthy. What do you think about them? You know, and I might throw some suggestions out there at them. But once they give me the names for the third and fourth beneficiary, then I tell them, I say, okay, Joe, now we need to make sure that we give them a call and let them know that they were listed as a beneficiary, and just make sure they're okay with accepting that responsibility. So let's just give them a quick call now. And actually, I'm sorry. What I'll tell them is what we need to do next, Joe, is we need to give them a call and get them on my schedule, because now I need to meet with them and drop them off the claim forms so that they have everything, God forbid something were to happen. So let's give them a call right now, make sure that they understand that they were listed as a beneficiary and they are okay with accepting that responsibility. Because I tell them, if we do not give them a call now, the chances of me getting out to them go down dramatically whenever I leave here today. So let's just give them a call right now. We'll give them a quick call right now. And we'll get them on my schedule. And that way we don't have to worry about it. So we'll give your brother a call first, and then we'll give your sister a call, you know, next, or however you want to play it. So at that point, we're going to contact them. We're going to call them. So the number should be listed right there. They already gave you, when they give you a third and a fourth beneficiary, they're going to give you the name, the phone number are the two key things, but also we should get an address for them as well. Now, I'll just say, so let's give your brother a call first. Since you listed him as a third beneficiary, I could give him a call for you while we're sitting here just to knock it out. Or do you want to give him a call? Say, I'll use it. A lot of times we'll say, just give him a call. Go ahead. So I'll give a brother a call, and I'll call him and say, John, hey, John, this is Tom Vina. I'm actually with American Income. I'm actually working with your brother, Joe, and your sister-in-law, Mary. I'm actually sitting here right with them right now. The reason that we wanted to give you a call is that your brother, Joe, he took advantage of some benefits that through our company. And let's say it was a child save or a will kit, you know, so I'll use one of those. So he took advantage of some benefits from our company through a specialized will kit program that they set up for him. And one of the benefits that he has taken advantage of is life insurance. And we wanted to give you a call today because he actually listed you as one of the beneficiaries on his life insurance. So God forbid something were to happen to your brother, you may need to be the one to actually file a claim on the money. So yeah, I'm here with your brother right now, and we wanted to make sure we needed to make sure we gave you a call. Number one, to make sure that you're okay, that you understand this, but number two, to make sure that you're comfortable with accepting that responsibility. So would that be okay? Are you comfortable with us listing you as a beneficiary for his life insurance there, John? Okay, perfect, no problem. Now, if you do accept this responsibility, my job is to come over and sit down with you and your wife at your kitchen table and go over these benefits for you and your family to make sure that you know exactly how to file a claim. God forbid something were to happen to your brother, and I'll leave you with a folder and all the proper claim forms that go along with it. What's nice about this too, John, is while I'm out there meeting with you, you and your wife will be able to get to see the benefits that your brother got to take advantage of. And if they make sense for you, I can go over them, and you could potentially take advantage if you're able to qualify for them as well. But like I said, I'll cover all that for you when I'm out there. Okay. But the main thing right now, Joe, is I'm so backed up, and that's why we had to give you a call. I got a pretty busy schedule, but I could squeeze you guys in even a little bit later today. We could actually get you back on, you know, I could squeeze you in between 7 and 9 o'clock, in between that gap in evening. Or I can see you first thing in the morning, you know, tomorrow, Saturday morning. I have some time at 8 a.m. I can get you guys knocked out early and get you squared away. What time will work best for you? Tonight? Okay, great. You know what? I'm going to be pretty busy today, but what I'm going to do while I'm on the phone with you here is I'm going to get an email sent over to you and set you up with a link and everything before I take off with your brother. You want to say anything to your brother while you're here? He said thanks. He said thanks, Joe. All right, perfect. Okay, well, all right. Well, listen, Johnny, I'll send you the link here in a second. And I'm, like I said, I'm running pretty busy schedule right now. So do you see any reason why tonight between 7 and 9, that time slot wouldn't work for you? No reason at all? Okay, and would you do me a favor? Could you just make sure you let your wife, Suzanne, can you please let Suzanne know that we're gonna be meeting as well? Obviously I don't want to catch her off guard as well. Okay, perfect. Well, I'll get you guys squared away, and I'll meet with you guys a little bit later. We'll get you guys all squared away, and I'll be out of your hair. Sound good? All right, great. Talk to you soon. All right, so I'm basically talking to nobody right now, so give me some credit here, all right? I'm like role playing with nobody over here. So, but that's how I would handle the phone call in the home with the people. You know what I mean? And if you can do that for those two people, let's say you get that one cell and you get those two people on. So you get one on for tonight and another one on for tomorrow. When you meet with those two people, the closing ratio on them is so high. You literally, you go in there and show him what your brother bought. And naturally he's going to want to outdo him, you know? He said, yeah, he showed me, you guys got the 50, we got the $100,000 one, you know, next birthday party or Christmas. So, you know, that goes on as well. But you show them what they got. And what's nice is they can be quicker presentations as well. You know, time is money. We don't want to waste our time ever, you know? So if we can be more efficient with our time, hey, imagine you're running all contingent beneficiaries from this point forward. The only time that you're going to spend extra is if you're in a home and you see an opportunity where our no-cost benefits can help them out, you know, and it can just help with serving that client in one way, shape, or form. That may take a little bit extra, but there's no need to go over AD&D certificates, child safe kits, will kits, family information guides. Really not that much need in doing that, because the presentation for that is you're going to go over it, you're going to build up our company, you're going to let them know how great our company is, how lucky his brother is to even be able to have an opportunity to qualify for these exclusive benefits. So like a lot of times people can't, they typically are not able to have access to these exclusive benefits because they're not part of one of our organizations. They don't pay union dues and they just don't have access to these benefits. You know, these benefits are ones that are set up for the ambulance drivers, the firemen, the police, the nurses, the roadway workers, the construction people, the Teamsters, the steel workers, the coal miners, the people that build up our country to kind of what it is today. They're able to take advantage of these exclusive benefits because they're specifically designed for these organizations and they're the ones that have access to them. You know, but your brother, for a limited time, he was actually able to get in on these benefits and through a specialized child safety program that we're doing through the community, working with the American Federation of Teachers, the Firefighters Association, and the International Union of Police Associations. Is we have this specialized program. We're getting child safety kits out to the community, and your sister, your mom, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, they were able to take advantage of the benefits and actually get in on these exclusive benefits. So because of that, you know, that's why they listed you as a beneficiary. And because of that, you're able to take advantage. Today, you'll be able to have access to these exclusive benefits that typically, you know, you wouldn't have access to. So, but I have to make sure you can qualify for them, blah, 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 right? And I'll build up the company, explain to them why we're there. Why does our company exist, guys? Everybody knows why our company exists. Is because if I basically say, we work with all these organizations for the last 60 years, 70 years now. Next year will be our 70-year anniversary as a company. We were founded in 1951. So we'll have 70 years of working with these organizations. And the biggest reason they work with us is because all of the organizations that we service, all the companies that we work with, all the businesses, all the groups, all the unions, all the associations, all the organizations that we service, they all have benefits. Just like any company does, you know, and I go, you know, most companies provide benefits to their employees, right? But what typically happens to those benefits if you ever leave that company? So let's say you quit, get fired, retire. What typically happens to our benefits? That's right, they go away. And that was the big problem and one of the major concerns that they were finding is that people were working for years and years and years, and at the time that they needed it the most, they're losing out on their benefits. So what these organizations have done is they brought those concerns to us, and they've teamed up with us. And now we provide all these organizations with permanent benefits for all of their members. So no matter what, if a steelworker or a coal miner or a teacher were to retire or quit or get fired or lose their career for some reason, maybe they get laid off. One thing is they're never going to lose these benefits. As a side story, guys, right now everybody's getting laid off. You know what also they lay off for most people is they don't just lay them off the job and lay off their money. They also lay off their benefits too. They lay off them. So people are losing right now, not only their jobs, but their benefits. So something happens to them, that's major problem, major concern. So that's why, and just go back to what I would tell the client now, that was just a side note for us, okay? But for the client, I would let them know that, that's why the organizations trust us to handle all their benefits. We make sure they have permanent guaranteed life benefits. They're going to be there forever. So no matter what, it's kind of like it's guaranteed to be in place for our members when they need them the most. We're going to be there for them and provide the most. Another quote for us just to have is you could tell this to your clients today. Make sure you have some good quotes, man. People eat them up. They buy that shit. They like hearing some cool quotes. And if you phrase it the right way, you say it the right way, it can be pretty cool. Like obviously, hey, you got to say it the right way, but most people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. I mean, you got to have that in your presentation at some point. But one of the quotes, I forget what I was going to say on my quote. Man, threw me off a little bit. What were we just talking about? We're talking about the, geez, this quote's going to kill me now.
Going through the presentation and building up the value of the company.
Yes. Okay, so here's a side note too. Here's the quote, is you can, at the end, this is maybe if you're talking to people about the money and stuff, but you could let them know that, yeah, Joe and Mary, this is one of the only things where our members can set aside the least when they need it the least, but it's guaranteed to pay them the most when they need it the most. So that's a good quote. I wanted to just bring it. I knew it was on the tip of my tongue. So anyways, I'll say it again for us too. And you could just say, yeah, Joe, I know, sometimes, $400 a month may seem like a lot, or you may say 200. Say, they're $250 a month. He's going to say to you. He's like, $300 a month. I'm going to say, yeah. Most families to have a benefit program like this, they typically pay $300 a week. So to be able to get in on the benefits at $300 a month it's all about timing, and it's never going to be. They say the best time to get it is when you're young and healthy. So they really said this shows that, this is the only thing, one of the only things that our members have available to them where they can set aside the least when they need it the least. You think about $300 a month, that's a cable or a cell phone bill. Now, really, we don't need it right now. Set aside the least when we need it the least. But it's guaranteed to be there for us, and it's guaranteed to pay us the most when we need it the most. So that's something you could just put in your pocket, and you can pull out in your presentation if you know how to just time it and bring it up the right way. So last night, so this is a quick story. I walk into the office, and don't let me forget where we're at on this presentation. I'm going to do a tangent real quick, but we'll come back. So I walk into the office, and it was just the last straw. I had the last straw. Okay. Every time I walk into our office, we have this beautiful TV, just like this. See this thing? This is nice. Okay. But underneath here, there was a wire coming down all the way down. And every time I walk in this office, I see this wire. And I keep telling myself, I'm going to hide that wire. And so last night there was the last straw with this wire. So I took the picture frame off the wall and grabbed Daquan's brother, and me and him went to work on the wall, and we start punching holes in the wall. I punched a hole in the wall here, and I punched a hole in the wall down there. And we're like, all right, now we're going to fish the wire through the wall, right? Well, come to find it, there's all this stuff in the wall, insulation, right? So like, how are we going to get it down there? It's stuck. And what we realized is we did a YouTube video and we need what's called fish tape. Fish tape. I don't know if you guys know what fish tape is, but it's tape that you fish down through the wall, right? And it gotta be, you just stick it down there and it goes right down through, and supposedly it's gonna work. And then we can use that to get the wire through. And the point of the story is that you gotta have the tools for the job. That's, I told him, I said, here's a good learning lesson for us. You know, sometimes in order to get the job done properly, you got to have the right tools, you know, and a good carpenter over time has every tool he's ever going to need, because what's going to happen is a good carpenter is someone that is a professional, and someone that is a professional is someone that has done something for 10,000 hours straight. So when you hit 10,000 hours, now you're a professional. So a carpenter is a professional. They put 10,000 hours into it. Here's what happens to a carpenter though. Carpenter shows up to the job. They start doing some work. They got the basic tools, hammer, nails, saw, but you're gonna find out, in order for this job, I'm gonna need sand. I'm gonna need a sander. I'm gonna need to go get anchors. I'm gonna need to get a sawzall. I'm gonna need to get I don't know, whatever else, some other sort of new screwdriver. So he gets all these tools, puts them, now he had to buy them. So the carpenter bought these tools, and guess where he keeps them? In his garage, in his tool truck, right in his truck, right in his van, right? Next time he goes on a job, finds out, this is a roofing job, man, I got to get all my roofing stuff, right? This time I'm gonna need to get a better tool belt, different stuff. Every time he goes to a different job, he's gonna find out he needs different tools. So he goes and gets those tools, and then guess what? Next time he faces that same problem, he already got the tools. So that's like us in the business. You know, we're gonna go out, and if we keep working 10,000 hours, you're gonna face every problem out there. You're gonna face every problem out there. You're gonna be able to, one day you're gonna have a roofing job. Next day you're gonna have a flooring job. Next day you're gonna have to do plumbing. So you're gonna have to get the plumbing, solder, you have to solder the stuff, and, you know, get the right saw to cut the copper pipes, and, you know, different connections, and, you know, and then one day, you know, you're gonna have enough stuff that anytime you ever hit a plumbing situation, you're gonna have all the tools. Next time you're gonna walk into one of your jobs and you're gonna need a light bulb, and you're like, I got light bulbs. Over the years, I just collected light bulbs. Just one of the things I collected, because I've just been up in the game for 10,000 hours, just doing this all the time. So that's your closes. That's your closes. That's your rapport. That's this whole deal from top to bottom. The numbers, the contracts, the retention, the referrals, the phone calls, all of that stuff. I got I don't know, let's say you got a discount card in your lead pack, or maybe you got a policy holder in your lead pack. Well, you never did that before. So guess what? You're like, oh, well, before I go work on this project, I better go get the tools. What are the tools that you need to do the work on a policy holder? You better go get the policy owner phone script. It wouldn't work to call the policy owner using the hard card script. Like, well, I go to my tool shed, all I got is a hard card script. That's all I learned. All I learned is how to set a hard card. All I learned is how to set a will kit. So I'm going to just use those tools on this job. If you try and use the will kit script to set a policy owner, probably not going to sound right. It's not going to work right. So the key is having the right tools for the job. And those sometimes just come over time with the basic premise that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So I know it might happen one or two times, but we're going to go back and get the tools. But the more proactive we can get with these, like walking through the store and I'm like, all right, today I got a roofing job, right? So I'm going to get the ladder. I'm going to get all the stuff I need for the roofing job. But as I'm walking down the aisle, I see a guy over there and he's selling these special saws. And he said, this saw can do any job for you. I'm like, you want to know what? I don't need that saw right now. I'm going to do a roofing job. But you want to know what? One day I'm probably going to need it. So I'm going to buy that thing too, throw it in the cart. I'm getting the stuff proactively just in case I need it. Don't wait until you show up to the job site and then you find out, I got to go get all these tools. And now we got to waste time ordering them. Some of them we got to order right now. There's COVID. There's people not delivering stuff on time. Took me 2 weeks to get the stuff. And now the project's sitting there. It could have been done yesterday if I already had the tools. So don't wait. Now that's like sitting down with a client today. And because you weren't prepared enough, because you're more reactive instead of proactive, we sit down with a client today and they hit us with a problem and we go, sorry, man, I got to go back to the tool shed. I'm going to have to call you back. And now it's 3 weeks later. We could have just closed them right down there today. So we have to be proactive. It's like playing. It's like you're playing for the moment when you're going to need it. So after football practice, me and the backup quarterback or the starting quarterback, whoever I can get, would throw footballs to me. I would go like this. I would go like, hey, let's go to the sideline. I'm going to go to the sideline. What I would do is I would envision that I was running a pattern. You know what I mean? So I would do one of these. This is the football field. The quarterback would be here, and I would be over here, right? And I would say, I'm going to do anything. I'm going to go down and out, right to the corner, right to the sidelines, okay? And I want you to throw me the ball like right here, and I want to drag my feet, and let's practice that over and over and over. I don't know if I'm ever going to need that, but I want to practice it and be prepared in case I ever am in that position. And then I'd say, let's practice the corner to the end zone. Practice the corner to the end zone. And we would practice this after practice just in case we would need it. You know, so that's what we want to do. Is prepare ourselves, not reactively, but as much as we can proactively with all this stuff too. So if I met with that client, that client Johnny, who's I sold Joe, and now I'm going to meet with Johnny tonight and his wife Susan. I would build up the company. I'd explain to him why we're there, which is we provide permanent benefits to the members, and then I'd say, so here's what your brother has. Here's your responsibility. Here's what the folder looks like. Now for you, Joe, what they would do is they set up a needs analysis for you. So the breakdown, this is what I went over for your brother. We went over the difference between whole life and term. I said, are you familiar with different types of life insurance? Okay, well, there's hundreds of names and types and all kind of different fancy terminology that people use for their life insurance terms. But at the end of the day, Joe, it pretty much boils down to there's either whole life or term life. So I'll explain that to you. Make sure we're on. Are you familiar with how that works? And if they say yes, you know what I say? Okay, great. Let's make sure we're on the same page. If they say no, you know what I say? Okay, great. Let's make sure we're on the same page. No matter what they say, I'm going to say, do you understand the difference between whole life and term? Okay, great. Let's just make sure we're on the same page. And I break down for them the difference between whole life and term for them. Then right after that, I'm going to do a needs analysis for them, and I'm going to show them what they need. And then I'll assume the sale at that point. We got to be able to assume the sale. So assuming the sale is rolling into the application. That's what I would typically do. Just roll right into the application. So throughout your presentation, if you ask them, does this make sense? Are we on the same page? Does this make sense so far, Joe? Why did I set this up for you? Are we on the same page, Mary? Does this make sense to you? If you keep asking this throughout the presentation and they keep telling you yes, okay, that's great. You're getting tie downs, you're getting yeses, and if you want to keep guessing yeses because you're going to get a check, you're going to get more yeses at the end if you get more yeses at the front. So that's all important. But I'm allowed to assume the sale because they just told me they understand everything that's going on 100 times. I just asked them like 50 different times. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? So they told me a bunch of times that it makes sense. So at the end, I just enroll them. Like, what am I going to ask you again? You know? Let me ask you this. If you ever went on a date, okay? What the heck were we watching the other day with the kids? Man, I can't even remember. We watched The Never Ending Story 2. Talk about it. First of all, you have to see The Never Ending Story 1 first. Okay, but that's some old school stuff. But I remember that this girl, she was talking to the guy and she's like, you were my first kiss, right? But I'm thinking about this, and if you were on a date with somebody, okay, at the end of the date, you don't, I mean, I don't know what it is today, but I could imagine, I mean, I don't think that the guy goes to the girl or the girl goes to the guy. I don't think it goes like this where they're like, hey, had a good date. What do you think about a good night kiss? Can I lean in and give you a kiss now? Like, I mean, come on, that don't happen. You know what that happens? It has to be assumed, right? The guy assumes and he just dives in. Hey, we're just going to assume and hopefully it works, right? I don't know, but that's the same thing we're dealing with here. We can't be asking and you know, stepping around what we want to do. We just want to go in, assume the sale, take the sale, you know, and close it down. So same thing out there in the field. So dude, I mean, that shows confidence as well. And what they buy is confidence. So now we're at the end of the presentation. They enroll into the benefits. I enroll them in, fill out the application. They're happy, they're comfortable, they trust me. You know, the first thing you got to do is you got to sell yourself. So you got to be, I mean, you have to, this is their life insurance, guys. This is not a joke. We know that. And I think we always have to keep in mind, there has to be a level of professionalism when meeting with the client to let them know that there's that line. Because I've been there before. I've been in the friend zone. And I met with clients in my first few weeks, you know, I was getting, I want to think about it way more than I ever wanted. And I asked, you know, I went to my managers, I'm like, I want to think about it. And they're like, yeah, dude, you're building too much rapport. You're making too much friends with the people. And now they tell you they want to think about it. And at the end of the day, that's great. But who did you help this week when that happened? Did you help that family? Did they need the coverage? I was like, yeah, they needed it. And did they get it? I said, no. I said, why not? Because they wanted to think about it. Why? Because you're being their friend. Who'd you help? Nobody. I said, oh boy, I'm not doing a good job at doing my job. My job is not to be people's friends. My job is to be a professional. So I changed that a little bit, but think about it. Would you go to your doctor if you didn't like him? No, right? So your doctor's still friendly with you. Your doctor's still friendly, but he's not your friend. He's a professional. You know, he's there to solve a problem. So that's where I learned to kind of draw that line a little bit, you know, between the friends and the professionalism. But we do have to, what are some ways we can add professionalism to our presentation? Any way you can do it. So I wouldn't say dress up in a 3-piece suit with a top hat and a bow tie every day. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we need to go all the way up there. There's a you know, fine line to it. But I mean, if you threw a jacket on with a button-down shirt, maybe leave it unbuttoned, maybe have a tie on and just act like you're coming from somewhere busy. Like when I show up, like I'm like, oh, sorry guys, I just was out of a meeting. I was meeting with another client. I had a big meeting earlier today. I have a big meeting right after this. They're like, oh, wow, this guy must be important. He must be going places. He's going somewhere all dressed up like that. People don't get all dressed up like that for nothing. Sure hope he didn't get all dressed up like that for me. And I let him know, hell no, I didn't get all dressed up like this for you. I got bigger things going on. And I let him know in a professional way, in a nice way, like this. Hey, sorry, excuse me, guys. I'm a little bit dressed up. I actually had a very big meeting earlier, and I wanted to still make sure that I met with you guys today. So I wanted to make sure, to respect your time, I want to make sure I'm here to answer all your questions. Boom! Professional, right? Or, hey guys, I have a really important meeting right after this. I'm going to make sure I spend the time with you here, but I apologize. I'm a little bit dressed up. I just have some other, I have a big meeting with somebody, you know, that's all I got to say. A really important big meeting, something like that. And you're boom, it just lets them know, this guy's doing something. What are they doing? They're sitting at home petting with their cat. Who's going to be in control? Who's going to be the professional? So you can do that and play that card. So dress is important, but I think you could just dress up your words a little bit too, you know? So just think about the words and the verbiage that you're using and just how we're enunciating our words. Make sure that we take the time to fully explain things to the client. I love when I get to read something to them because it shows that I can read. No, I'm kidding. Because it shows that I'm able to show them how professional I am. So like I like reading the mandatory read-off letter to them. And what I do is I read it verbatim, so professional, and it just gives me an opportunity to sound like this guy is detail-oriented. He doesn't skip his words. He announces things. He's very clear, punctuated, you know, and that's what I like about it. How about the what comes next form? Anybody ever go over to what comes next form with the client? Right? You got to read what it says on there with them. I love it. I love just being able to read that and sounding professional, you know? So chances when you can read the screen to them or something like that, that's a good chance to show professionalism. One way to show professionalism is to cut some of the uhs and ums, because it'll make you sound more confident. So a little side point is Eric Guillaume will call it the pregnant pause. I don't know if you ever heard of the pregnant pause, but I don't even know what I would call it. But basically, when you're talking to someone, instead of saying or you got to think about it. But instead of saying or don't say anything at all. So anytime you're about to say or just go and pause. And what you'll find to do is if you slow things down and you actually really stop and think and concentrate on what you're saying and you deliver it the right way with the right energy, you don't have to say as much. And we don't have to fill the air with words and sounds non-stop. If someone from another language or an alien who didn't understand our language heard one of us talking, it would just sound like this. There's no stop. There's no stoppage in it. Wouldn't it sound better if it was like dun 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 dun, wah wah, dun dun dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun. I don't know. I'm just saying right now is I know it sounds crazy, okay? But think about it. Would your presentation, if somebody like just listened to it, would just be like, whoa, 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 just a nonstop, just, or would there be a little bit more flow, a little bit more cadence to it? And that would have to be intentional. Guess who's in control of a baseball game? The guy with the baseball. Guess who that is? The pitcher. Guess who controls the pace of that game? The pitcher. If the pitcher wants, we could be here for 4 hours. I see some pitchers like, what's the Cubs? We're in Chicago. I got to talk about the Cubs for a second. What's their pitcher? Arrieta? This dude was an absolute monster. Big beard. If he was on the mound, I would be scared. I would be scared. He was scared. I was in the stands. I was scared of the guy. I watched him. I came to Chicago. I went to the Chicago Cubs versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I watched him smoke the Pirates. I think they got one hit the whole game. He almost got a shutout, like a no-hitter. And I think it was a shutout. One hit shutout on the Pirates. I watched him. And here's what he did. He wound up. He threw this pitch. Nobody could even see the ball. Flared into the guy, called it a strike. After that, guess what the catcher did? He threw the ball back to the pitcher. As soon as he got the ball, he grabbed the ball, turned around, stomped back to the mound as fast as he could, lined up, and just threw the next pitch. Boom. Got it. Boom. Back up. Boom. Threw the next pitch. He was in complete control of the game. The batter didn't even have a chance to do, you know how batters like to do their warm-up. They'll sit there for 10 minutes doing this, fixing their glove. Batters didn't have time to do it. He said, I'm not waiting for you. I'm going up here. I'm throwing that pitch. As soon as that batter was okay, he wound up and whipped it. And he controlled the game. I'm not saying we got to be like that in the home. Okay, we don't have to be boom, boom, boom like Arrieta, you know. But I'm just using an example of controlling the cadence. you know, and I want you to know you're in control of the cadence. When they're watching you, take control. We don't need to use the ahs and the ums. Here's what it does. Let me just end on this. I'll tell you what it does for you, okay? Is that it provides when you say something to the client and then you pause, it makes them reflect on what you just said. It adds more emphasis on what you just said, right? But it also keeps them engaged in suspense for what you're about to say next. They have to keep listening. And then eventually, if you do it the right way, you can have them finishing your sentences with you. And now they're like, wow, I get it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff, guys. It's great when you master your craft. And it's great when you hit your 10,000 hours. That's when you become a professional. And people are like, professional, man, I got to be a professional. People play baseball for 18, 20 years before they become a professional baseball player. To be a professional doctor, think about all the school you got to go to. A professional dentist, all the school you got to go to. To be a professional in this business and in anything, it's 10,000 hours. So if I want to be a professional tennis player, a professional at anything, it's 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours is if you do 40 hours a week, that'll take you 5 years. If you do 80 hours a week, it'll take you 2.5 years. So you could literally, in 2 years from now, be a professional and you're guaranteed you'll be making professional income. But the thing is, professional income isn't the same everywhere. See, if I want to be a professional baker, hey, 2 years from now, 80 hours a week, I'll be a professional baker and I'm going to make professional baker income. Whatever professional baker would make, that would be my income. 2 years from now, I could get into the insurance industry and become a professional in that. And I'm going to make professional income, whatever a professional person in the insurance industry would make. That's a different income. So you got to choose your profession and what you want to be a professional in. Some people are becoming professionals in Instagram. I mean, they're literally becoming professionals in cake stands and beer. I guarantee some people spend more time doing this than doing this. More time doing this than doing this. Think about that. Doing the wrong type of curls, right? We got to be curling the phones, not curling the beer cans. So at the end of the day, guys, we're on the right path. I don't know if I gotta leave because I got a meeting at 11. Hey guys, I got a really important meeting I'm heading to right now. So, but anyways, I do got to jump off right now, but I wish I could stick around and answer any questions for us. Hopefully that was helpful on the contingent beneficiaries. We did not even touch on V.I.B.S. We didn't touch on V.I.B.S. today, but I ran through how to collect the contingents, how to set the contingents, and then how I would sell those contingents for the most part as well. But we'll keep this rocking, guys. Thanks for your time today. Hopefully, I just really hope this helps somebody. Hopefully we can implement this stuff and help us take your game to the next level, guys. So appreciate it.
Thanks, boss.
Thank you. Great talk.
Thank you.
Thanks, TV.